Great. So welcome to Your Database is Your Business. And this is the second in this series that we're going to go through a few times. And this part I titled Getting Your Data Together, Getting the Data Together. Okay? We talked last time, just kind of FYI, this is being recorded. So just think about that. If there's anything you don't want personal, just be aware. And of course, we're going to edit it out later. So goal of the program is to have you realize, whoa, somebody's in the background there, to realize how much money is literally slipping through your fingers. So you finally get committed to running your business as a business. I've coached agents now formally for 5 years and as a mortgage agent and manager and real estate manager for about 20 years. The common thing about agents who are struggling is they don't realize how much business is literally slipping through their fingers. So this is the second of 3 parts. The first part, we quantified the problem, and told you how much money you individually are losing in your business. So I don't want to repeat the whole thing here, but I would just say a short version is to say we quantified that for the average agent whose average gross commission check is $10,000, each contact, name, phone number, and email of people that they've met and known like them, that they lose, cost them $1,000 a piece. Or if they put those back in the database and work them properly, each one they find is worth $1,000 a piece. Who here has been with me before and quantified that? Please say aye. Anybody who's been on that? Who's on the call before? We walked through and you calculated your own numbers and how much you're losing. I think Elsa, you were in the call last week, weren't you?
Yes.
How much? Exciting. It's a lot of pain. But how much did you calculate each name, number, and email that you gather back? You can add back into your business. How much?
Well, I just calculated it that day, Bill, that we went through on it.
And how much was it? Do you remember?
I believe it was $400 or $600 a lead.
Each name, number, and email that you can find and put back in your database and begin to work properly was worth $400 to $600 a piece to you, correct?
Right.
Yeah, a lot of money, right? For names and numbers just laying around. So 2, we're going to talk about where to get those names and numbers, and then 3, next week we'll talk about the proper actions to take. So are you leaking? That's the graphic that where money's leaving you. And last week I asked you to do homework, which was to schedule 1 hour to calculate out how much you're losing and to count how many contacts you have now. Because like a lot of problems, if we can't quantify it, we can't get started on the solution. Anybody here on the call do their homework? Okay. Well, I don't want to beat anybody up for it, but I'm just saying that the most important thing you can do is schedule 1 hour and calculate how much you're losing or how much the opportunity is for you to regain. And then number 2, calculate where you are with contacts today so you can start from there. Now, to get it all together, what we're going to talk about, what we're going to suggest you do, is put everything into your funnel. You can sort out later. I want you to think about like a trash can or funnel. Just throw everything in, and we'll sort it later. Put everything in your inbox. We'll sort it out later. Everybody you meet that you have a connection with, a rapport with at some level, should go into a database. Now, I'm not saying you should call them all regularly. I'm not saying you should email them all regularly or postcard them all regularly, but at least capture them so you can begin the process of identifying what the right action is next with everybody. Even people you'll never want to contact, you should keep them to make sure you don't accidentally put them into your system. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody you meet should go in your system. So first thing to do would be to gather, if you want to gather back, in Elsa's case, $400 to $600 per name and number and contact. The first thing I find is to gather all the paper you have laying around. Right? So we all have paper. For example, old files. Who has, besides me, has old files sitting in the garage?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. Each one's worth $400 to $600. Now, I'm not saying you have to go through them all yourself. If you have a kid who's home for the summer, what a great job for them to do. Open house sign-in sheets. Who has open houses that you held? You spent an hour getting ready. You held it open for 3 or 4 hours. You spent another hour afterwards taking down the signs. It has sheets from people that you met at the open house 6 months ago, a year, 2 years ago, and you have their name, phone number, and email, and never put them in your system. Who has those sheets laying around? Say aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Most agents have piles of those all over the place. So I would suggest you go back and grab all those. Old lead sheets. Who has lead sheets sitting around in some folder in a desk drawer somewhere? When name names of people and you call them at the time, they sound excited to sell their house, and then maybe a week or a month goes by, you lose track of them. Who has those old lead sheets? You never put them in your system. Say aye. Right?
Aye.
Exactly. Notes from door knocking, business cards. Some are sitting in their desk, some are in their Rolodex. Rosters of kids' teams. Now, I'm not suggesting everybody in the roster that you market to. I'm talking about the 1 or 2 people you met, the team mother, or you went to practice a couple times and met that one guy you were friendly with. You have his name and phone number and email perhaps on the roster. A holiday card list or wedding mailing list, or any paper address books. Some people have old phones with numbers in them. I've had an agent who went through the process of one by one because the phone was so old you couldn't get software for it. Pulling those names and numbers out. But if I said to you if I was to go to your house and say for every name, phone number, and email and address, I'll give you $100 cash. Here's the $100. How many could you give me in an hour?
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Patty, a lot. But here's the thing. I'm telling you that they're really worth for you probably $1,000 a piece. Because instead of having them in your database, you're calling strangers and old and expireds and door knocking instead of people who already know you and like you. And so you say a lot for $100. Each one's worth $1,000 if you do on your own. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
I think you should also mention that's not $1,000 overall. That's $1,000 a year.
So you're right. It's $1,000 a year. Thank you, Robert. Robert is I think you're the proprietor of Hippo Contact. Is that correct, Robert?
Yeah. So I'm a mortgage broker. So my database last year is only about 350 people that opened it, and on average. And then from that, I generated 60 transactions, and then paid me about 165,000, and that was all passive, all inbound, and that's while I was building out Hippo Contact. So about 480 per emails was worth, and then as time goes on, it only increases in value as they get to like you and know you and trust you more.
So some of the things he mentions is those are inbound, meaning he's emailing out to people that know him, like him, and some of them call him as a result of that process, rather than him having to call them. And
I've not done a phone call out in 2 years.
Okay. Now, if I was coaching you, I'd recommend to supplement what you do with some phone calls out, unless you're happy with your results, in which case you're doing great. Yeah. The other point where I've made that's critical is the contact's worth $1,000 that you find, Patty, not just $400 or $100 cash. $1,000 a year as long as you're in real estate and active.
Wow.
Not only that, when you retire, theoretically, let me ask you this, if you had a database, let's say of 300 people, and you emailed them all some great content weekly, and you called them all every 60 or 90 days, you sent a postcard once a month, and you could document that of those 300 people, you got 30 transactions a year, or $300,000 gross commission. When it comes time to retire, you can sell that or have an earn-out of that business as well. Their business that sell for 1 times gross income. Harder to do in real estate, but it'd be worth probably over time about $300,000 to you. That's what your database is worth to you. Those files in your garage are worth about $300,000 per year, and then you can sell it at the end. Good point, Robert. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So who should be on your list? Everybody you meet. Your family, your friends, anybody you know on a first-name basis, neighbors, church. Any professionals you pay, your doctor, your dentist, your accountant, your attorney, your insurance agent. Rosters of of your kids' teams and classes, those you actually met. Your holiday card list, wedding mailing list, and paper address books. So anybody you write a check to. Mike Gardner sold a house in Hawthorne and bought a house. Now that pays for how many? I think I pay $100 a month for gardening services. You know, selling a house and buying a house, double ending a deal like that. How many months of free gardening do you think I got as a result of that? Well, none, but I got a commission check. Which would you rather have? You guys, your gardener owns a house probably, especially the guy who owns the business, maybe not the guy who does the actual cutting. Your trainer, your car wash guy, your vendors, for sure your lenders, escrow title, your broker, your transaction coordinator. Now you can have them pull your old files for you also to help you, but they should also be in your system. Every lender you ever met, every title rep you ever met. Don't you think the title rep or the lender, think about it. I've done this class with maybe 10 real estate agents and 2 mortgage people. I asked the mortgage people, you know, well, let me summarize first. Typically, a mortgage person to make the same amount of money as a real estate agent has to do 4 to 5 times the number of units because they get paid on the loan amount, which is lower, and a lower commission rate. So here you have somebody who does 5 times the units you do. Every customer the mortgage broker has owns a house by definition, correct? And when I do this class, I ask mortgage brokers, how many realtors have ever contacted you for referrals? And they always say none. It's crazy. Don't you think in the mortgage broker's life, Robert, let me ask you, in your life, do people, your friends, family, neighbors, church, or whatever, sometimes tell you they're going to think of selling their house and come to you and give that information?
So what's the exact question? Sorry.
Do you have friends, family, neighbors in your life who come to you and say, I'm thinking of selling my house. I have some questions. Who should I talk to?
Oh, yeah, correct. And then I have a couple of realtors that I would refer them to.
Okay, you have a couple you would refer to. How many realtors call you and market you for those referrals?
Generally none.
Generally none. I never get anybody who says anybody.
Yeah, sorry?
That's the answer I get all the time. Those you real estate agents on the line right now, how do you feel knowing your mortgage broker is referring the business to somebody and you're not even asking for it? How does that make you feel?
And we're a good chance. Like for me, I'm usually, because of my newsletter thing, I'm 3, 4, 5 months before they actually purchase. I am aware of it.
Right. Who liked the leads before other people were, but say I?
I.
Or would you rather wait till they're emailed out to every real estate agent in your market area to call them on the phone using Mojo at 7 in the morning? So you're talking about getting ahead of the curve. So all your vendors should be in your list and ask them for help. Because if they did business with you, they have files. And by the way, a referral from a mortgage broker, is that the kind of referral you'd like to have?
Yeah.
Or a title
Of
rep?
course.
Because they know the business, they're trusted. Also, see MikeFrey.com, he has a great form for helping you go through your list. Check your financial statements. Anybody you call, anybody you write checks to or credit cards to, you should add to your list. And then those who are married, you have a spouse, they have a COI as well. I would recommend all of you to spend 1 hour a week and just go through these steps one by one by one. You can't do it all. Don't go overwhelmed. Just spend a half hour twice a week and pick a couple of these points. Could you, if you spend an hour, find 10, 20, or 50 contacts that you misplaced in your system?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what we want to do. Next, once you're done with that, now a more advanced technique for those agents who've been in the business a while, Anwar and Patricia in particular, you have to go through the MLS because every seller that you sold, where did they go? Now you're going to say, well, they sold their house. They moved out of the area. Well, if you did a good job, don't they still have neighbors where they used to live? My best friend moved to Atlanta. Don't you think he is thinking of me? His wife's aunt owns a house in Culver City. Don't I want to be the referral source on that business?
Mm-hmm.
So just because they moved out of the area doesn't mean you should forget about them. Not clients, past customers. Find them all. All the buyers on your listing sold, you want to adopt them. You could add that into your door knocking regimen. Probably the emails, you probably have their email address somewhere. The buyer's agent sent you their information, the pre-qual letter, the lender, the escrow title might have it. Of course, all the buyers you sold you should have, because at some point, that first-time buyer, what are they 10 years from now? They're a seller. And then here's another one that agents overlook. All the listings that didn't sell, your expired, your canceled, go back and reconnect with them. Somehow we rather call somebody else's expired than our own. To me, that's just crazy. I just talked to one yesterday. It's not that bad. They understood it wasn't your fault. So go back and add all of them in. Now, one question I get asked a lot is, well, that's a big job, Bill. What do I do with all this data? So I heard Tom Ferry say the best CRM, the best customer relationship manager, the best software program to use is the one that you use. They're all bad. They're all good. They all have great features. They all are hard to work with. So I see a question from Jen. Did I miss it here? Jen. Okay, go ahead. Jen, you're unmuted. How can I help you? What question do you have on that? I'm sorry, G. Lynn. No? I see a hand up. Okay, so whatever system you have, put all the data into. Put it in a spreadsheet. It's easy. You can export, copy it. Just back it up somewhere. Or if you're using Google Contacts, use that. If you're using a company product, if you're using eAgent or something like that, use that. Whatever you're using now, put them all there. If you're not using anything, use paper, use a spreadsheet, then back it up. If it's paper, make a copy of it, scan it, and put a copy somewhere. But get everything into one place. That's the first step. Now, you also have, once you've gone through the paper, once you've gone through the people you know, the next level is electronic sources. You want to export all of them into one place. Your email program, if you're using Yahoo. It used to be Yahoo would connect with Facebook and you could download all your Facebook contacts and export them all. Yahoo's now one of the last places that does connect up, but they limit how many you're exporting of the Facebook contacts. So it's getting harder and harder. These companies want to keep you in a silo. When you can export data out of their system into your system, you're going to be better off. How about the old email program you don't use anymore, but has your old contacts in it? Maybe use an old Gmail or an AOL account or MSN account. Maybe you keep your database in the MLS, or your board has a program like Listing Book, or where you send out properties, all those names and addresses and emails. Your ZipForms database. Facebook's more problematic now. It used to be you could export your Facebook contacts. There are ways to do that. There's some advanced techniques. I don't want to go into on it today. But definitely, some people have their phone numbers and emails public. You want to grab those. Your cell phone. Most cell phones sync to the cloud. Android phones sync to Google Contacts. And iPhones sync to the cloud as well. And you want to export them and get them all into your hands somehow, into your system. Now, once you have them all in someplace, one of the advanced techniques is to start to merge the data together. I use Contactually as a database. Does a great job of merging from multiple sources. I can pull data in from Google, MailChimp, any other database, LinkedIn pulled in, used to pull in Facebook. And there's a free trial. If you email me, I'll send you a link back for a free trial with Contactually for 30 days. You can use it for nothing more than just linking them all together and then export out and go back to your own database program. And then once you're done getting all the electronic together into one database and merge and clean to a bit, then you need to back up your data. Any questions on that? I see a question. G-Lynn, I'm going to take your hand down. Estella, do you have a question?
No, not at this point, no.
Okay, good.
Just
So,
to get everything right.
okay, good. So a lot of work here, a lot of steps. Again, I always do it all at once. I would schedule an hour a week. I do it on Sunday night, or 2 half hours a week, to just piecemeal and just take this to the checklist step by step. It's a constant, never-ending process. Next, once you have it all kind of in one place, it's time to do some cleanup. Then you want to use some free resources to help you clean up. Google, great resources. Obviously, search people, find their phone numbers and emails, the ones you're missing. Realist Tax Public Records is part of the MLS in most regions. You go to LinkedIn. You can LinkedIn, message people, say, I lost touch with you. Okay, I'd like to send you some information. I'd like to touch base with you again, find out what you're doing. Facebook also. You could go into people.com or TELUS and search people's phone numbers and emails in research. Again, I would spend money only on people that are past customers I signed a contract with, buyers or sellers. But there's definitely a lot of ways you could find people and look them up and research them. Then if you go a little deeper, you can email people. Those that you're missing, let's say you have an email and a phone number, email them and give them some reason to text you, maybe a raffle, maybe a fundraiser for your favorite charity. You could postcard people same way, have them email you back or text you in order to collect something. Door knock past clients, especially at the holidays. A great program I've used for years is Rapportive.com. If you're using Google Chrome and Google Mail, then every email you have, it will search and see if they're in Facebook or LinkedIn. And if they're not, if you're not connected to them, you just push a button and it sends out a connection request. And I've used that to help me build up my LinkedIn and Facebook profiles tremendously. And obviously, once you're connected with them, it's easier to interact. It might give the name of their company. Maybe they changed jobs. And on Rapportive, I'll see, oh, so-and-so is now no longer at Microsoft. They're now at Google in Santa Monica. Now I have a good reason to call them as well. And then again, contextually, we'll combine people. So sometimes you have an email, but you forgot the name. And then you have a name somewhere else with a phone number, and contextually will merge them together for you based on a LinkedIn profile. And now you know who they are. So definitely worth using contextually to help you clean up your database. And then in really advanced techniques, I say this is for agents who are already at $200,000 a year GCI or higher. You can append software, append data, which means you have data, some's missing, you can add to it. You can use software to research your emails, or you can advertise. So what does all that mean? So append data, there's services that will, you send them your database, your emails, they'll send you back the name, address, and phone number associated with the email. You send them your database missing phone numbers, they'll send you back your phone numbers. There's two vendors I've worked with, Relevate and Melissa Data, that will do that for you. Again, I wouldn't do that. That's an advanced technique once you've already put all these things together. Another source I would definitely use, much less expensive, is EverContact. EverContact will scrape out of your email the signatures of emails, people's names, phone numbers, addresses, titles, put them into your Google Contact or your Outlook. And if you pay extra, it will go back a year or up to 5 years and pull all those emails that you have and scrape them for you automatically. Very expensive. I want to say it's like $50-$60 going back 5 years, and maybe $30 or $40 a year going forward. EverContact, fantastic product. You might consider advertising, because in Facebook, you can send an ad to people that you have on an email list. So if you have an email list of people, you can't figure out who they are, you can run a Facebook ad just targeting those people. Get them to respond via text or phone call. Or you can email them or snail mail them again to get them to respond. Again, this is advanced. Once you do all the free things, some things you can do by spending some money. Now, what I lay out here today, is this a lot of work, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I get it. You're not going to do it all in a week or a month or a quarter or even a year. It's a process. So just put some time on it regularly. You'll be amazed what you can accomplish over time. I had a job in my house. I had a closet that was just a mess with stuff piled and piled and piled. And I kept having my to-do list to finish that. It's the last thing in my bedroom to really organize and really update and do nicely. And I wasn't doing it. I just said, you know what, I'm going to schedule just 1 hour a week. And so I walked in yesterday. I was amazed how clean it was, because I'd spent an hour in this large walk-in closet. It's now like a normal closet again. So schedule some time. Get some help. You can use a summer hire, maybe when your kids is home, or an intern to help you do the research or organize the data for you. Kids are great on these online services. You can use a virtual assistant, particularly with the research and helping with databases. So going forward, I'd like you to make 2 commitments. One is anybody you meet that has any interest in you in real estate, you put them in your system. You want to do that, say yes.
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 These are people you've met. And second, go ahead.
Hey, Bill, I think the biggest thing there is that it's an interest in you and not so much an interest in real estate.
Okay, even better.
Yeah, if you can get in, if you get conscious of that, then if you can make it to the friend level, and from that point able to passively stay in touch with them, you'll be able to convert them accordingly.
So are you saying that you don't have to mention real estate when you call them, every month or so?
Well, on my side, I'm a mortgage broker, so I barely even care about the mortgages. My newsletter thing sort of passively converts them over. I'm more interested in them knowing me, not so much that it's more like I know Rob, he's a mortgage broker, versus I know a mortgage broker. So I want them to know me first, and then the secondary thing is what I actually do.
I'd say, Patty, because I know you pretty well, I'd say that for every agent there's a right answer. There's really a fork in the road here in two different systems, and you have to look at yourself and assess yourself, or with a coach make an assessment, and make the right choice. One is a pure friend referral relationship with people. That's what Rob's suggesting. If they like you or know you, then just pass the email out. If they don't like it, they'll unsubscribe. But you're just looking for relationships and friends. The other one is if you're more of a Mike Ferry hardcore prospector, then you want to talk about real estate. Now, I will say that either way, anybody you meet while you're prospecting real estate should obviously go in your database. Anybody you meet door knocking that likes you, that gives you their email, should obviously go in your database. And they give you their phone number, research their email if you forget to get it or lost it. At the door, ask for it. So it depends on who you are as an agent. Either of those answers are correct. Either you're going for straight referral and friendships, fine, put everybody in, let them self-select out. Or the other side, and I say for listing agents, or agents who are listing agents, you have to be a little more aggressive because you're selling yourself as a salesperson. I would say, but either way, as far as friends and family and social life, but either way, anybody you meet while you're conducting real estate, any open house person, any door knock person, any vendor that you meet that knows you're a real estate agent, absolutely goes into your database. Okay?
Okay.
Good. And then you also nowadays want to ask them to friend you on Facebook. That's becoming more and more important. Facebook is becoming, for most people, the internet. Not for everybody, maybe a quarter, but for a quarter of the people, they only email in Facebook, they only text in Facebook, and they only search stuff in Facebook. They get the news in Facebook. Again, not everybody, it may not last forever, but for today, yeah, it's very important. Okay, so the commitment is to schedule 1 hour during the next week. I would urge you all right now, fill out your calendar, just like I was a customer. You need to schedule 1 hour or 2.5 hours to work on getting your data into your system. And then pick 1 or 2 items that we talked about today to get started. You're not going to do it all. You may have to commit to doing it forever. But can you guys, who here's willing to commit to scheduling right now to put in your calendar 1 hour? Say aye.
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 Good. When do you want to start? When is your hour going to be? Patty?
Today.
What time?
7 to 8.
Great. 7 to 8 tonight. You're going to work on your database. Fantastic. Who else?
No, this is Perry. I'll commit to doing that.
Just 1 hour. So when would your hour be, Perry?
Probably Saturday morning, 8 a.m.
Great. Put in your calendar right now, just like you would an appointment, whether it's Google or paper calendar, right now so you get it done. Okay? And,
Well, I will commit to it tomorrow between from 3 to 4.
Great. Put in your calendar, Anwar, just like it's a listing appointment. At 3 o'clock, you can stop everything. Now, obviously, if at 3 o'clock you find yourself at a listing appointment, reschedule this time for another time. That's the advantage of doing this. You can move it. But if you, besides me, anybody else have a problem if it's not in your calendar, things don't get done? Who else has that problem besides me?
Yes.
Yeah. On the positive, if it's in your calendar, is it more likely to get done?
Yes.
Good.
Of course.
So let's put in the calendar 1 hour right now and put down what you're doing. If you want to report back to me when you're done, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, text me, whatever makes sense. So the next week, a week from today, we're going to continue this. We're going to talk about the most effective strategies for contacting your database. How you should email them. How you should call them on the phone. How you should, or if you should, or when you should, send them something in the mail. And other techniques.
Perfect.
And we'll include the resources included to help it make it easier, including HippoContact. I think is one. It's a great resource for you. Okay? So that's next week. We'll do that. In the meantime, if you want to send me, when you're done with your homework, you're done with your appointment, send me your feedback. Send me an email saying you got it done and what you accomplished and how valuable it was. I'll share with you guys. I made a change in my career about 3 months ago. So about 1/3 of my time, 1/3 of my prospecting time is as a real estate broker here in West LA. And I worked through these steps. I made this program by taking notes of what I was doing. And I added emails to people. Now, unlike you guys, I stopped doing real estate for 5 years. I was a manager at a company. So all my customers and contacts in real estate were really 5 years or older. Okay? But I had 700. I kept emailing every week over the last 5 years. And so I started calling them. Guess what? One of them, he owns a business. It's an industrial warehouse in Gardena, and he's selling it, and I listed it for $4.2 million.
Wow.
Because I just called him up. How you doing? One time I talked to Bill. I get your emails. Oh, because he got my emails. He thought we were in touch. So this stuff works. So send me your successes. Email me, call me, text me. Let me know how it works, and then next week you guys will all get an invite for a week from today, Wednesday, 5 p.m., and we'll talk about specifically the activities to take. And my guess is that will take more than just 1 week, and I'll include certain resources I discovered to make the job better. Okay, great. Any questions on what we covered today?
Hey, Bill, you said your database was 700 people?
Uh-huh.
Is that correct?
Like 670 or 650 that I had accumulated before I went into management 5 years ago, and then kept adding the two. So yes.
So here's an interesting thing. What would you say the product life cycle of purchasing a property is for the average family?
I can tell you.
How often do they do it?
Well, I can tell you statistically it varies by area and price range, but in the area that I work in, it's about 10 years, a little higher price market. Lower price markets could be 7 years or so.
Let's say that 10 years. That's 120 months. So if you look at the 700 people you have in your list,
Right.
if you're constantly in contact with them,
Right.
700 divided by the 120 months, that means month in, month out, with or without you,
Yes.
6 people are dealing with that transaction.
Absolutely.
So the question is, what percentage of those are you getting?
Not enough.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that a
Yeah.
heck lot more than not staying in contact with them.
Absolutely.
Like, trying to find new business versus being conscious of the fact that, like, for me, my mortgage business, I know I got about 350 in my list, but not that big. My product cycle is 42 months. I got 8 to 10 people in my list, month in, month out, dealing with their mortgage with or without me, and today I'm at about 40% direct at close of those.
That's phenomenal. So
But just being conscious of that.
absolutely. Well, I'll say this. Unfortunately, in some regards, or fortunately, I had a great job for the last 5 years. It wasn't selling real estate. It was being a manager and a recruiter and a coach of a company. So I kept out of contact with them. And in honesty, of the 650, a lot of them are cold. They changed their emails. The phone numbers aren't good.
Yeah.
But with technology today, what I was able to do was find out the 650, the ones who are opening my emails. And that's about 120 who opened 4 of the last 5. And those are the ones I started calling first. And those are great phone calls. So I really have a database. In reality, becoming an agent again 3 months ago, I have about 120 people who know me, like me, I have a relationship with of some sort. So I have a better chance with those, obviously, than the rest. But you're absolutely right. Look, I have agents on this phone call right now who should have 500 to 800 in their database.
Yeah.
And don't. But think about a year from now, if you got another 200-300 in your database, we know statistically that's 20 to 30 transactions that you would have a great shot at getting. So good point, Robert. Any other questions or any other feedback on this so far? Any other questions?
I just got feedback just to say that I'm excited for next week because I have a database, but I never do anything with it, and yeah, I'm losing money not keeping in contact with them and stuff.
So if we told your husband that you're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, how's he going to feel about that?
We wouldn't be very happy together.
I haven't met him, but I have a sense he wouldn't be happy at all. So let's not tell him. Let's work on it, and let's see what we can do about closing those gaps, okay?
Okay, great. Yes, thank
good
you.
job. Good job. Any other questions? Okay.
No.